Hello, good morning, and thank you for tuning in. I've spoken about how to handle failure in the past, and I've even talked about how I handled it as a primary school leaver, although circumstantially, with the help of my parent. Today, I want to share a more personal story on how I did not handle it very well. Failing the MRChem exam and not getting into emergency medicine residency training in 2022 was indeed a very tough pill for me to swallow. And I didn't realize how much had, it had impact it had on me until later on. My initial reaction was just to pretend that everything was fine. I looked at the results once or twice, and when the news of not getting to training came, I just felt, well, that's one other thing, and then I moved on with life. I thought I did, and just pretended all was well. And why do I do this? It's the same reason why anyone would. We are too scared, too afraid to be associated with failure, too scared and too afraid to face the pain and disappointment of failure. And for me, I'd not failed in a long while, so that made it even more difficult. By the way, I'm not crying. This is the wind that's getting in my eyes. Okay, so that I think that was the reason. And the consequence was that I became irritable, I became tired, I started losing focus at work. Although you wouldn't know, I knew I was losing focus, but I was still trying to maintain a good performance even at work and at home. But at home, it was too obvious because, my wife is quite discerning, and she would ask at interval, "Is everything okay? Are you all right?" And I would say, "I'm fine," shrugging it off until I couldn't pretend any longer. And this took me about 6 weeks to 7 weeks before I talked to myself, no, something is not right. I really need to face it. And I think it's the accumulation of the stress and the feeling of being stuck and being tired of that led me to, introspect. I wouldn't say introspect. I meditated because I'm fond of meditating. So during one of my meditation sessions, I looked back, traced my step back, and where did this start? When? How did I get here? And it all came crashing that it was from the point of receiving the failure result of MRKM SB and also not getting into training. So it all came crashing, and it was until then that I now was able to address this issue head on. And then I applied all the principles I shared in the previous video that I had made about how to handle failure. I allowed the emotion for about 3-4 days. That was, it was a delayed reaction, but I allowed the emotion. I talked about it to friends, family, because I had not spoken about this to anyone, so I talked about it to my colleagues, my friends, some of my associates, what had happened and how I had felt, how disappointed it is for me. And I allowed the emotion. I got that out, and then introspected what has gone wrong, what I could have done differently, explored my options. Do I have to do things the same way and all? And then I strategized, made plans, and went into action. This time I started managing my expectation. So everything that I shared in that previous video was very useful for me at this point, because that made the difference. That made the difference, and that was a turning point for me. That was a very big turning point for me, and everything started aligning again. Okay, and to be frank with you, it might not have. It could have gone the other way, but I think I was equipped with what to do if faced with that kind of circumstance, and I think that's what is the most important thing. So things took a better turn for me, and then I realized that pretending that things were right, when they are not, is really, really an unsustainable strategy to handle failure. If you have been in this position, if you have failed at one point or the other, and you didn't handle it very well, and you felt some of this thing I've shared, kindly put it in the comment section. Let us learn from you. Let us hear from your story. Maybe you would inspire somebody to take action and to face the failure head on. And if there's one thing to take away from this talk today, it's that, look, we are all going through shit. We are all going through a lot, and you really need to be able to take yourself back, take your paces back. Pretending that all is well when they are not, it's never a strategy to handle failure. And not only failure, whatever it is in life, when things are not going your way, you need to look inward. Don't pretend. Don't be on autopilot. Don't be like me how I did the other time, because I know that that is definitely not a good way to handle it. Okay, my name is Ahmed Abdulkarim. I'm a medical doctor and a life coach with over 10 years of experience. Kindly hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Yeah, I'm doing that. I don't believe I'll be doing that. Chilo. Bye.